Emeldah, please tell me a bit about yourself.
Hi, Martina. My name is Emeldah Joya Tafire. I am an environmental science expert with the CDIF.
For those of us that don't know what an environmental expert does, what do you do?
So basically, I look at environmental issues. I train communities on the environment. I also lead projects on awareness on sustainability and issues topical in the environment like climate change, waste management, and all of that.
All right, what do you think the role of climate change in general is in today's society? Are people now accepting that climate change is real, or you still find that people are still skeptical and ignorant about it?
I think with the current events, populations no longer have the choice.
So, Emeldah, do you think people or the communities are accepting of the effects or adapting to the effects of climate change?
I think communities no longer have a choice but to accept the effects of climate change as well as adapt to climate change. For example, we now have prolonged winters. We now have very dry, wet seasons. Our agricultural seasons are now moving and shifting. So I think that whether communities or individuals want to accept it or not, to a certain extent, a certain form of adaptation is forced or required for them to be able to live their lives as normal.
Okay, and tell us about your climate or social work that you've done so far.
So far, I've worked with CDIF on projects that they've been doing. Of note is a project that we did in Chimanimani after Cyclone Idai. We did a project on women empowerment where we went in with a recovery project and we empowered the community by starting a mushroom project in Chimanimani. I have also done a little bit of radio work on Capital FM 100.4. The program is done on Thursdays. I have done 4 or 5 sessions where I spread awareness on the effects of climate change, awareness on environmental sustainability, and simple issues like waste management and changes in the agricultural landscape.
Okay, given that communities are still adapting to what climate is and the effects can't be ignored, what more do you think can we do as a society, as a government, as a nation, as a continent, or whatever?
I think we could go into the communities and raise awareness on the effects of climate change. And after awareness, the most important thing would be to help communities to adapt to the effects of climate change.
Okay, and what do you hope to achieve with CDIF? On a personal note, what do you think would be your best sort of like eureka moment where you think you have done what you set out to do?
So with CDIF and even as an individual, I hope to spread awareness to communities. I also think that as we go in with our recovery projects with CDIF, we will be able to help communities rebuild infrastructure that has been lost through natural disasters and climatic disasters like your cyclones and your floods. And we'll also be able to help the communities on how they can respond during a climatic disaster. So this speaks to proactive measures rather than reactive measures during disaster response.
Okay, and any message you want to say?
My last thing to say would be that climate change is real, and as communities, the simple little actions that we can take, for example, reducing carbon, the amount of carbon, or reducing our carbon footprint, this is an easy way. What was the question again?
What message do you want to send to society?
Okay, let's take that again.
Okay, Emeldah, please tell me what message would you like to send out to the community and to anyone out there who doesn't believe that climate change or climate disasters are real?
My message would be that climate change is real, and there are simple actions that we can take as communities to curb the effects of climate change, like reducing the amount of carbon that we actually release into the atmosphere, be it by changing our transport, be it by changing the type of fuels that we use. Thank you.
Thank you. And one last question. In your everyday life, how do you make sure that you lessen your carbon footprint in today?
So sometimes it means walking to a place that is close instead of driving. Sometimes it means taking a road trip instead of taking a plane.
Thank you, Emeldah, for your time. Emeldah, in your everyday life, how do you ensure that you're making less of a carbon footprint?
That would be the use of renewable energy in the home and in the office, use of solar instead of fossil fuels.
Okay, thank you.